Mac, the other day, my wife said to me, and I'm not really sure how to take this, but
Mhm.
she said, "You smell like garlic. Who are you, Dracula?"
Oh, that's not she made no, she didn't do it
That's what
right.
I said to her too, and you know what she
Yeah.
did? She fixed her fake glasses.
Your wife, fashion icon, wearing glasses just to look cool, because that's a thing people do now. When we were
Yeah.
kids, you were called
No,
Four Eyes,
I'm
but now it
saying
looks
more no,
cool.
she did not have glasses on. She was calling me a nerd
Oh,
for
calling you
correcting her.
no, that's not a Dracula thing is not that's a survival thing. That's come on now. She would die to a Dracula very easily. She would have died in Sinners instantly. That's she doesn't know what she's doing.
I feel like that's someone saying, "Oh, you like fire. Who are you, Frankenstein?"
You know what it's akin to is I am trained in putting fires out, right?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
water. People really like to think that I'm an expert fire starter. I said, I don't think you understand what I do.
Well, but also, if I asked you right now to start a fire, could you do it?
Yeah, I could probably do it better than most, but that's not what I'm trained in. I might know the chemical reaction a little bit better than most, but doesn't mean I'm an expert at putting or at starting fires. Just as Dracula, garlic puts Dracula out. Garlic. You know, that's not. She missed it. She missed the mark. But also, a little racist on her part, right? You're an
I was gonna say,
Italian. You're an
but to be
Italian. You
fair
smell
though,
like garlic.
right now I do smell like garlic.
One goo, three, yeah. Goo. Jaws three. Goo. King of Queens. Goo. Meryl Streep. Goo. Entertainment.
I'm Goo,
And I'm Mac.
and we are the Mac and Goo program. We bring you friendship.
Yes, and today we're taking you way back to a time where Goo and I were kids looking for friends. We were 11 years old back in the year 2000.
In the year 2000.
If you've been a listener to this podcast for a long time, a staple of this program was the Mac and Goovy Vault series, where we went back all the way to 1983, 1985.
85.
And we talked about the best movies in a given year. So this is not unlike that. We're going to go back to years, more specifically during our childhood. We're not going to go back as far as we did with the Gooey Vault and just basically do essentially a year in review. What was that year like? What was the media? What
Yes.
what were we watching? What were we listening to? What was that like? And we'll talk about it here.
Movies only play a very small part of what these episodes are going to be. It's going to be what the big pop culture touchstone moments are from the year, and that could range from anything to anything.
And I believe Goo and I were in sixth grade.
Yes.
We started and ended in sixth grade in the year 2000. I'm pretty sure, right?
It might
No.
be fifth at the end and then the start of sixth.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
It was the
Yes.
summer heading
Yes,
into
we graduated. Jesus Christ, this is how old we are. We graduated elementary school in the year 2000. That's correct. Started sixth grade in the year 2000. So that's where you and I were at that point. I'm sure some of you graduated high school that year, and some of this episode is based around that. In the year 2000, we're going to be giving out some superlatives and talking about what was the most year 2000 type of thing.
And also, as you can tell by the title of this episode, this is the first of our Tierbook series.
No more tears have to cry.
That won't be in the audio portion. If you're listening, I don't think we get flagged. If we get taken down on YouTube, who gives a shit?
I don't think they're going to take down a recorder version of Vitamin C's Graduation, but if they do, YouTube's got bigger problems. That's
It's
for
all
fucking
the
sure.
time or the years we spent together or had together. By
Goo.
the end of this running gag, this running bit, these shows, we're going to figure out the lyrics to Vitamin C's Graduation.
Goo, unfortunately for you, when we graduated in high school in the year 2007, we didn't do any superlatives, and I think that's absolute horseshit. Absolute utter
I know, because
horseshit.
like my wife my wife,
Mama.
who went to a different Massachusetts school, they had it in their yearbook, and she won Best Dressed.
I tell you, one of the best things is looking back at people's high school yearbooks and seeing shit like the superlatives. Go for the people at home. What is a superlative you think I could have won in the year 2007? And I'll do you.
Future bald asshole.
I think you would have been in the running for Clash Clown. I don't know if you would have won it, but you would have been on the short list.
Should I be proud of that?
I don't know. I don't know if
I
you
don't
should
know.
be or should be. You've
I
come a
don't know.
long way. You've come a long way. If
I
they did best laugh, I might have had a chance. I don't know if they do that.
You might have. I will say this: is I have brought you to a couple company parties, and people have pointed out your smile and your laugh as very welcoming,
magnetic.
Yes.
Yeah. How about
Whereas
that?
me, they question why I'm here.
All right. So for the year 2000, we will be giving out 10 superlatives, aka the 10 commandments. I don't know. That's just the first thing I thought of when I thought the number 10. And we get a call.
Should I play the theme song again or no?
Come up with a 10 commandments theme song. Too.
Okay.
For the year 2000, most likely to succeed, our nominees were the PlayStation 2, coming off the heels of all the hot video games in the middle and late 90s. Survivor, Goo. This was the year the television show Survivor took the country by storm, ended up becoming the biggest show of the year. But I think your winner for most likely to succeed, and as we saw it play out, of course, we have some hindsight here, Goo, is comic book movies. Comic book movies, thank God, and Kevin Feige for producing the movie X-Men in the year 2000. It was the 6th highest grossing movie of the year. It provided a proof of concept for these franchise comic book movies and not just one-offs that we had some successful movies of in the past. So your winner for most likely to succeed, year 2000, X-Men.
So I almost think that we maybe want to put polls online of like one or the other, because I think that the PlayStation 2 might be the winner here, because it quite possibly, I don't know if it's the best video game console of all time, but the game library is the best of all time, and it ran for so long, and people are still using their PlayStation 2. A big thing about it is because you could play DVDs on there.
So the whole reason why I wanted to do the episode this way is for that reason.
No, we can just do this very quickly. So
we also, the concept of this episode might change 3 times by the time we do it.
Oh, by the way, we don't know what we're doing yet. So
I actually narrowed it down.
We haven't even stamped what the rules are yet. We might stamp remove the rules.
Yeah. Is that someone? That sounds like Velcro.
It was a very limited access to what I had for sound effects, and that is removing a stamp.
I'm okay with any of those 3 winning. I was actually between Survivor and comic book movies. PlayStation 2 was 3rd for me, but whatever. 3 good nominees. I'd say comic book movies. You say PlayStation 2. We'll let the folks decide.
Hop down in the comment section of YouTube and tell us what you think. Smash that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Put the little bell on so that when we put a video out, you get to watch it immediately. You get told immediately. Your phone will tell you.
Goo, you're most likely to be famous for the year 2000. I'm going to give this essentially the newcomer award here. We had our nominees, Cisco, Jessica Simpson, the new Destiny's Child lineup. That's right. Out go Latavia Robinson and LaToya Lucky. In come Farrah Franklin and Michelle Williams, who ends up being their long-term. Joaquin Phoenix, Survivor, nominated again here. Frankie Muniz, Malcolm in the Middle. Shia LaBeouf burst onto the scene as well. Even Stevens. To me, Goo, the winner here, most likely to be famous, is Joaquin Phoenix. I lean to him. I think he stands out just ahead of the other ones. Now, the Beyonce factor in Destiny's Child is tough to ignore, but I think you have to save that for maybe the year she goes solo, you know?
Okay, so if we're doing polls or we're doing comment down below, I would lean Destiny's Child. Jessica Simpson had a real nice run.
Hot. She burned bright early.
Real hot.
She burned bright early.
And then Shia LaBeouf, because even Stevens, big for us. I don't know how big it was nationally with anyone beyond our age group, because most people would fall back on Frankie Muniz, but beyond Malcolm in the Middle, of course, he gave us Big Fat Liar, Agent Cody Banks. I don't know which one is which, but he races cars now. He sells olive oil.
I also think Survivor could win like 4 of these. But if it's not Survivor, Joaquin Phoenix had been in a couple somewhat notable things prior, but this is the year he does Gladiator and really cements himself as an up-and-coming star. That's why I think it should be Joaquin Phoenix. But again, a lot of good nominees.
Brother of River. Real name, Raphael Bottom.
Goo!
Yes.
Your nominees for most athletic in the year 2000. Shaquille O'Neal. The Lakers win their first championship with the Shaq and Kobe combination. Martin Brodeur. The Devils win their second Stanley Cup. Derek Jeter. The Yankees cap up a third straight, cement their dynasty. I don't know who to nominate from there. You could go Clemens, you could go Bernie, you could go Rivera. I think all 3 were better than Jeter at that time.
I don't need any of them, actually. I don't need any of those 4.
That's fine. Pedro Martinez, Goo, puts up 11.7 WAR and arguably the greatest pitching season of all time and deep in the steroid era.
Yes.
I think that's an easy winner in 90% of the years. However, we get Tiger Woods in the year 2000, who finally becomes Tiger. 9 wins, 3 majors. He achieved a scoring average of 68.17, breaking the previous record held by Byron Nelson like 60 years earlier. He broke or tied 27 PGA Tour records, and he played in 20 tournaments that year and finished in the top 5 in 17 of them. So I think it's got to be Tiger Woods. He made golf cool.
Yes.
He was the first person to ever make golf cool.
No, I would say that Tiger Woods is not only a national icon, an international icon, and this is the year that really pushed forth him being a true champion of the sport. Pedro Martinez might be more regional because I still think that outside of the New England area, he might not get the respect that he deserves for that 5-season run that he had with the Red Sox. Even nationally, I think Shaq might get it over Pedro.
Yeah, you might be right. I also think Pedro got stiffed from an MVP that year. He should have won MVP as well as a Cy Young. So there's that whole discussion as well. He gets stiffed here not because of anyone else in his sport, just because Tiger's Tiger. Goo, your most dramatic for the year 2000. This could be a little bit of everything. Our nominees here. Metallica. They fucked up music downloading for all us young folks.
And we'll get into it more with the tiers later, but they get blamed for it more than other people, but other artists were in on this.
Yeah, they were just the most famous artists and really were out.
Well,
they were the mouthpiece for the movie.
It was Lars Ulrich who was the voice. It was Lars.
Yeah. Goo, Y2K. Super dramatic. Nothing happened. A blip on the radar, really, I suppose, for the beginning part of the year 2000. And then this one, I combine this too because it's kind of all of the same. It affects, it's the same people sort of making decisions.
I think of different things. Although Janet Reno.
So the United States government, Goo, most dramatic in the year 2000. We have the Elian Gonzalez situation, which was not great for most people involved. And then you had the 2000 presidential election, which was absolute shit show. So to me, the most dramatic in the year 2000, the United States government.
Which is really funny because the most dramatic of that bunch would be Al Gore, and he's an emotionless ghoul. I'll go Y2K.
Okay, I'm cool with that too. Yeah. Our best friends or frenemies for the year 2000. This one could go either way.
Oh, by the way, Mac did all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
we can have more nominees, but these 2 are so strong. I'll leave it up.
Comment section below and tell us more nominees.
Yeah, if we missed one, go ahead and fly it in here. But I think these are 2 so over the top obvious ones that define the year and the era. You have Britney and Christina, friends, frenemies. Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, friends, frenemies. Whichever one, I go Britney, Christina. I think there was more respect between Backstreet and NSYNC than there was Britney and Christina. So I think they're better frenemies.
I agree. And I also look at Backstreet versus NSYNC as almost like a 2-horse race where, you do have 98 Degrees also sniffing around there. But especially this year, I think NSYNC pulled ahead of Backstreet Boys.
You could probably argue Backstreet was ahead leading into this year. And the other aspect, and this is why I think it's a better frenemy battle, Britney was always ahead of Christina. So I think Christina was always the underdog, and that's a better frenemy situation.
And I also feel like Christina thought that she was more talented than Britney, and she was slighted.
Christina's for sure a better singer, but it didn't matter in the year 2000, right? We didn't want that.
We want performers, and Britney had the banger music videos.
Yes, and everyone wanted to bang her. So
come on, Mac.
Goo, the cutest couple nominees for the year 2000. We had one that maybe
Which,
shouldn't
by
be
the way,
here.
none of
But,
these have aged well, by the way.
but
None of these have aged well.
you have Jennifer Lopez and Puff Daddy was still Puff Daddy at the time.
Yeah.
I think he was committing a lot of crimes back then, but there you go. Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson. I think it was the first year they became like an it.
I might lean this way. I might go with these two.
Carson Daly and Tara Reid. Huh? How
Yeah.
about that? I forgot about that. Good for Carson Daly, that's for sure. Of course, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake. That might be the obvious answer, but alas, someone that supplants them, I think, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. They were the it couple. They were who everyone wanted to be and rooted for. Britney and Justin was cute and it was fun because they were young. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston were
Yeah.
the it couple.
It's the cute puppy dog couple with Justin and Brittany. We've found out more things after the thing of it, but like Brad and Jennifer still respect each other, so that's nice. And they got married this year.
Yeah, there you go.
Mhm.
There you go. There's your answer. Your class clown nominees for the year 2000. Y2K, right back up in there. Why not? Frankie Muniz, classic little middle school class clown. He might be in like 6th grade here. Malcolm in the Middle.
I would take the younger brother.
What's his name with the ears? Dewey?
Dewey, there we go. He's not doing the revival show.
No, I don't think he acts anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry David bursts onto the scene with Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now,
And he
people
let
were,
everyone know that he was George Costanza. This was
Yeah.
the thing is like, look, I know that I was a writer on that show, but it's based off me. And now
Yeah.
I'm going to swear.
and obviously Curb is maybe my favorite show of all time, so maybe a little biased here. You also have Jim Carrey, had Me, Myself, and Irene, and The Grinch that came out. Both did pretty well. And, of course, Notorious, Clash Clown. That's a good nominee. One that I think people forget about, you and I won't, hashtag dork won't, Tom Green. You had the Tom Green Show on MTV. You had Road Trip, and you had Charlie's Angels he was in. So he was pretty prominent in the year
Was this
2000.
the year for the Bum Bum song?
I think it was the year after, I want to say, or the year before. I don't believe it was the year 2000, but I could be wrong. If it is, he probably wins. And then our final nominee, Eminem. Eminem was having fun rapping. We had the Marshall Mathers LP, his second album, come out in the year 2000. Off this album, we had The Real Slim Shady, The Way I Am, and Stan. Maybe a little more serious than all these other Clash Clowns, but good nominees nonetheless, Q.
Okay, so Lonely Swedish came out in the year 1999.
Okay.
That is going to give it to Eminem.
Yeah, over Larry David, you think?
Yeah.
All right. Eminem's our
Eminem,
Clash Clown.
He clowned on everyone on TRL. Remember when
and his music videos were very funny.
He took over MTV one time and he did a sketch on what was that late night softcore porn show that they had on
MTV?
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing I'm thinking of is HBO. HBO had Cat House and Taxi Cat Confessions.
It was like something called Naked, maybe.
I don't know. Eminem is your winner for Clash Clown year of 2000. Goo, your nominees for Life of the Party in the year 2000. Of course, PlayStation 2. A lot of people hung out and partied and played PS2.
Undressed.
Okay. Sure. Why not?
It isn't Bliss from the Oxygen Network, but it's close.
You had Cisco with the Thong Song. That was played at every party ever if you went to a party in the year 2000. Destiny's Child had Say My Name, Jumpin'. Faith Hill, Song of the Year, Goo. Breathe. Great tune. Great fucking tune. And that song was the first country music recording to be ranked #1 since Johnny Horton's The Battle of Nolens in 1959. There's a fun fact for you.
So fun.
Santana had Smooth, Maria Maria, the #2 and #3 singles of the year. And NSYNC had the #1 album of the year, No Strings Attached. Eminem, of course, we just mentioned The Real Slim Shady, The Way I Am, Stan. Britney Spears, this is at the tail end of Baby One More Time. Oops, I Did It Again comes out in the year 2000. So you have simultaneously on the radio at all times, You Drive Me Crazy, Born to Make You Happy, From the Bottom of My Broken Heart, Oops, I Did It Again, Lucky Stronger. I think Life of the Party is either between Britney because of the volume or Cisco for the Thong Song.
I'll say Cisco Thong Song.
Okay, Cisco Thong Song is your winner. Life of the Party, year 2000. Goo, we got 2 left here. Your biggest flirt nominees for the year 2000. Your man, Brad Pitt, wins Sexiest Man Alive. I think he's an apt nominee here. You have Jennifer Lopez. It's the year of the green dress. Green dress, year 2000 for JLo. That's tough to beat. We've mentioned Britney a bunch here. She's a natural nominee for here. Julia Roberts. She's everywhere. She's on the big screen. She's all over the place. Jennifer Aniston, one part of the sexiest couple in the world. Angelina Jolie starting to pop up here too, Gil, huh? A little foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Christina Aguilera playing second fiddle. And Beyonce, now that Destiny's Child is becoming more popular, she's more at the forefront. I feel like that J-Lo green dress,
J-Lo
though,
dress. The
that's
J-Lo
it,
dress. And then,
right?
was it the next year or was it the end of the year where Trey Stone and Matt Parker ripped it off?
I think it was the next year at the VMAs that they
When they
wore
showed up
it.
on acid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Goo, our final superlative for the year 2000, future president. But I'm essentially calling this the MVP of the year. Your nominees, again, you have Survivor, Tiger Woods, NSYNC's up there, Britney Spears, Eminem got the 2 Grammys, dropped the Marshall Mathers LP. George Clooney, in the year 2000, Goo, he has ER, one of the best shows on television. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? The Perfect Storm, very successful year. Look at this, though, Goo. Mel Gibson, 3 top 20 grossing movies on the year. The Patriot, What Women Want, co-starring Helen Hunt, and Chicken Run for Mel Gibson.
Oh, Chicken Run.
And then you have Carlos Santana, Smooth, Maria. This is a tough one. This is a tough one, Gil. I don't know where to lean with this one for the MVP of the year 2000.
Oh, this is for MVP. I thought you meant future president, like someone that actually could run for president.
No. Well, in today's age, yes, but no.
If that's the case, George Clooney would be someone that could run for president.
George Clooney. I mean, Mel Gibson couldn't because of drunk voicemails, but
that doesn't matter anymore.
I also feel like, coming back and as a younger crowd, 11 years old, we didn't know Carlos Santana until this album. So maybe it's Santana.
It's more of a comeback, though. It's more of a Kim Kardashian.
I know, but it was such a great comeback. It's borderline MVP level. So if you want to remove him because he's more comeback, it's got to be between Eminem and Britney, right? Or Tiger.
It's probably Britney. It's Britney or Tiger. You're right.
Or Survivor because it's been nominated for so many things.
I'll say Britney.
All right. Britney can win everything if she'd like. So your MVP for the year 2000, Britney Spears. Lock it up. Bang.
Now let's get to the second part of the tier book. What you all came for. We are going to put up numerous things from the year, and we are going to tier them where they belong as how important they are, not only at the time, but how they feel now. What has lasted over the years? And we will share on the screen right now what the tiers are. We have at the top, changed the world. Second level, this is the future. Third, lasting impact. Second to the bottom is a blip on the radar, just a fad. And then at the bottom, the worst, the garbage, the bin, pointless. The cops say it doesn't matter. And of course, when it comes to our tiers, we each have 2 moves. So if Mac wants to put something somewhere, I can move it twice. But if we want to put something somewhere and permanently have it there, we each have 1 stamp.
Yep.
But to combat that, we each have 1 stamp remover.
Should we just get rid of the stamp remover? Because it's just, I don't know if the stamp remover is actually doing anything. If we have just 1 and 1, we're just going to remove each other's stamp.
Once again, this is a work in progress.
Okay.
Should we have 3 moves, 2 stamps, 1 remover?
I don't know if there's enough items for that, though.
There's 100 items here.
2 moves, 2 stamps, 1 remover.
2 moves, 2 stamps, 1 remover.
Okay.
2 moves, 2 stamps, 1 remover.
Just a kick drum for the stamp.
Well, no, it's a boom right there.
I get what it invokes. I do.
It's a theater of the mind around here.
Sure. Can you make it so that the URL doesn't show? Is that a thing?
How about this? I can do everything in post.
Okay.
What you're seeing right now, the cops say it doesn't matter. All right. Here we go. The first thing up, this is the first thing of the year. As the clock struck
quite literally
in 1999, as we hit 0000000000 2000. Y2K. I am going to say the cops say it doesn't matter.
I would say blip on the radar fad because although there was no fallout for it, the 6-month ramp up made it a bit of a fad. It was a conversation piece in every aspect of life for a while.
You're right, because we also still have movies made with that title. People still joke about it. We had Y2J for a while.
Yeah, that's great.
How about, and they built a beautiful, I wouldn't say coliseum, but a building in the area for this, the Sydney Summer Olympics.
I got to be honest, I don't remember much from the Sydney Summer Olympics. I generally like the Olympics. These don't really stick out to me, so I would say blip on the radar.
I agree. How about this, though? Because we're going to find out.
You put it in pointless.
Shut the fuck up. What we're going to do here, Mac, is I think through these 25 years of tier books, is you love reality television.
Yes.
And one of the reality shows that started in the year 2000 is Big Brother. Where do you put Big Brother?
So I am not a Big Brother guy. The concept is easy to understand, and I get why it's been so popular over the last 25 years. If you don't know what the term Big Brother stems from, it's from being watched at all times from, the government. In this case, it's the general public, it's the viewers. I think this is the future, or it could be Lasting Impact, actually. Lasting Impact, because it is sort of the way reality TV turned into. And Big Brother was the first show. Now, I could be wrong about this. It's the first show I remember giving you access to a live feed online. So even when they weren't showing the show on TV, you could go online and watch Big Brother. I don't know if that happened in the year 2000, but it happened at some point.
I feel like you're the expert on this, so I'm not even going to fight you on this one.
Okay.
I'll say this is the future. That's fine. How about the Nokia 3310?
I think at some point from our age group and older, everyone had this phone. Everyone remembers playing Snake on this phone,
Yes.
moreover, right? So Lasting Impact, I think.
I mean, thinking back to my childhood, the phone that sticks out in my brain the most is the Chirp Chirp, but that's not an option here.
The Razor and the LG Chocolate. Those are the four, the Mount Rushmore. But this one, the Nokia phone was the first phone I ever remember seeing, kiosks in the mall having all these faceplates for it. They'd have 50 you could choose from. So I think it has a lasting impact.
Let's go to a piece of news that devastated you. You didn't go to school for a week. I remember this, and that is when Charles Schultz died. The Peanuts guy.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the bottom two. I don't know. How much do you care about it?
Can I make a pitch to you to why this might be lasting impact?
Okay, sure. I'll hear you out.
He made it a rule that when he died, no one else could do Peanut comic strips.
Oh, I like that. That's a good lasting impact.
He didn't want his family doing it.
Good lasting impact. You're right.
Lasting impact. R.I.P. Charles Schultz. The PlayStation 2 release, this changed the world.
It definitely did, for sure.
I mentioned earlier the game library is amazing. This had a DVD. So what happened here is that DVD players cost a lot of money at the time.
They were $400 to $500 or something like that.
Or it might have even been a little bit cheaper at that time, but it was comparable to what the PS2 cost. So people said, why don't I just buy a PlayStation 2 that plays DVDs and I can also play games?
I'm getting a premium gaming system and essentially a DVD player for free.
Mm-hmm. And, not to, pull up old wounds for myself, because this gaming system was so successful and people were waiting for this, the Sega Dreamcast died.
I mean, PS2, I got probably in the year 2000, if not for Christmas that year at the end of the year. And I had it up through college, through sophomore year of college. So I had it for 8 or 9 years.
I remember that even when I had moved on to, I want to say the PS4, maybe, my sister was still using the PS2.
There you go.
The Guitar Hero.
Bang.
Bang. Destiny's Child. And like you said, this was the lineup change year.
Yeah.
This is changing the world.
Is it though?
Yeah.
I would say lasting impact. And it's not the future, because girl groups didn't really become the future, right? It was sort of in the past there. I just feel like Destiny's Child has a lasting impact. Beyonce ended up changing the world.
Beyonce has changed. Beyonce did change the world, because girls, they run the world.
I'm going to stamp Destiny's Child at lasting impact.
Oh, what? No, that's too low.
Bang.
Can I put it above Charles Schultz?
You could do that. I'm okay with
Right.
that.
Okay. Fuck.
Don't put it above that fucking Nokia, though.
How about No Strings Attached? This was the third studio album for NSYNC, and like I said, this is what made them like true royalty.
Yeah, because they had a little bit more songwriting freedom, and we started to see Justin Timberlake emerge as like the it guy of the group.
Yeah, the macaroni hair.
Not unlike Beyonce and Destiny's Child. I also, so I don't know if this is the future. It's the same argument as Destiny's Child. So I would say Lasting Impact. But I guess because of their lead people, you could argue those two could be bumped up, but as the group, Lasting Impact.
I'll say Lasting Impact. And of course, with No Strings Attached, they had just cut from their boy band Dictator.
Yes.
And they're off on their own.
They had more freedom.
The next one, I do think, is a world-changing movie. And that is Gladiator. Not only box office, but award-winning prestige.
This is a tough one.
As well.
Tough one to evaluate, although we'd be kidding ourselves if every kid from like 10 to 16 didn't have this as like their favorite movie at the time.
Think of the parodies. Think of the quotability.
And I also like the aspect, because we've gotten away from it, but we're sort of getting back to it, where blockbuster successes can also win the major awards, which this movie did. Did it change the world, though? All right, Goose stamped it. One stamp down for Goo, one stamp down for me. All right.
The next one, and you've already had it as, what did you give it?
This was, let me scroll the top here real quick. This was the most likely to succeed comic book movies as a result of this movie.
So I think that X-Men did do a lot. And I think this is the future for X-Men, because I think that the next year, Spider-Man changed the world. Even though Spider-Man was 2002, right?
Spider-Man might have been 2002. It could have been 2001. But this was first. That's for sure.
No, I know it's first. But Spider-Man took what was good about this, and also, I think, brought in a whole new audience as well.
Well, that's why I think the difference here is like X-Men, this is a future. Spider-Man would be change the world.
This is Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
We put it above Big Brother, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
A movie that not only hit with our age range, but I feel like every older person was also in on this comedy, and that was Meet the Fockers.
It's for sure a lasting impact, because everyone's made Gaylord Fokker jokes, and it's directly referencing this movie, So it's not even like rewatchability. It's just okay.
No, rewatchability, it's really funny.
Rewatchability, it makes you love Owen Wilson's character that much more. It's good. It's a good movie.
De Niro's first dip into comedy?
I don't know about that.
I think that's also plays a huge thing. This is before De Niro was paying child support and wives support to all these exes and stuff. And he was just doing things for the love of it.
Jinxie Cat. Shout out Jinxie Cat.
I could use the toilet. All right, so we have it in Lasting Impact. It's above Charles Schultz, but behind Destiny's Child and NSYNC.
All right, that's fair.
But what about Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? This was a smash.
So it's for sure got to be below X-Men and Gladiator, but I still might think it's like this is the future, because it's really creative movie making, and this is like sort of what The Matrix did, right? A little bit of that, where it's like, oh, we can do shit like this in movies, like technology and practical stuff had sort of like made this possible. So I would say this is the future, which is weird because no one really talks about that movie,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anyone bring up that movie in forever, but this for sure the future of movie making.
It's weird where it's the future, but it's not Lasting Impact.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of just thinking.
Was it a blip on the radar?
It could be.
It might be.
I don't feel strongly enough about the movie to stamp
it's not
it, though.
Pointless. The cops say it matters.
No, it's not pointless. I agree.
Fuck. This might get moved at the end. By the way, we'll go back through all these at the end and move some stuff.
All right.
Okay, this once again, we talked about it a bit earlier, is Metallica versus Napster. And it was really Lars Ulrich who was constantly in the news trying to bring down Napster. So Metallica sued Napsters Napster. But before that, corporate fat cats already had sued Napster. There was already, like right after Metallica did it, Dr. Dre also sued Napster. And there was a bit of a back and forth at MTV Awards and everything else where Lars called Napster's users pussies. But then also at a rally, when Lars was talking about this and taking questions, someone said to him, I found your music on Napster and then I bought your CDs. And Lars didn't know what to think.
Yeah, so we're smack dab in the middle of this era where buying CDs was still cool and having a CD selection was cool. However, a lot of what we were discovering was like, hey, we can just like MP3s were on the horizon, and
Mhm.
we were going to be able to have all that storage on a small device and play it in your car. But there is a point to that. You could download music that you maybe liked, and then eventually that was still common practice to buy an album. Uh, I to me, the argument amongst the whole thing aside, I think this changed the world because what this led to was the streaming services for music we have today, right? They had to figure out how the artists and how the companies could get their cut of the streaming stuff. And it took a decade for them to figure it out and more and then some. I ended up buying so much music on iTunes. I had like 10,000 songs on iTunes, and then they just poo-pooed that away because it all went to the shared streaming on Apple Music and on Spotify. But that all began because of stuff like the suits against Napster.
I mean, Lars also did a very odd MTV Awards sketch with Marlon Wayans where he's like, oh, I can just steal all your stuff too then. Then he stole his girlfriend. He put a sticker on her bum. He also got into many arguments with Sean Fanning at those awards. And I believe Napster, were they found guilty of aiding and abetting copyright infringement, or was that what they were accused of?
I don't know.
They did eventually become like a pay streaming type of thing, but they couldn't make money off it. So they were like, we can't do anything with this.
Yeah, and then the funny part is like it didn't even matter. Like we were mad because Napster's the one we used, but then we just switched to like 4 different streaming. There was always a new Napster. We were always ahead of it,
What was always funny about like Napster and LimeWire is that usually when you found a song that you really liked, it was the wrong song, or they put the wrong artist on it. They're like, this is Led Zeppelin's Magic Carpet Ride.
Yeah, or there was like a DJ tag at terrible parts of the song. But like, so I see LimeWire's coming up here next, so maybe we should just jump to that.
Okay.
LimeWire was like the 3rd or 4th iteration for me. There was BearShare, and there was other stuff. I didn't really get into LimeWire until maybe 03, 04.
Should we do Blip on the Radar for LimeWire?
I ended up using LimeWire for longer than I used Napster.
Mm-hmm.
So go Lasting Impact on LimeWire.
Lasting Impact, because you
FrostWire was a blip on the radar.
You could download videos on there too, and you could ruin your computer.
Some real naughty ones.
Yeah, you could destroy your computer.
Yeah, I had a little father-son convo one day about things that were being downloaded on the computer, and then you know what?
About it?
You know my father. I had this conversation with him recently.
Yeah,
he had to have a little sit down with me because my stepmother scrolled across something on the computer, and I knew at 11 years old how to delete cookies and history and whatnot. So when I was getting the talking to, I'm like, motherfucker, what did I miss? How did I miss it? I'm usually a pretty smooth criminal here. I'm clean with my work. Years later, now that I know more about who my father is, I said, motherfucker, was that you? You're the one you threw me under the bus? And I'm like, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I'll take that one. Take that one on the chin.
We had a similar issue where someone at my house recorded late night Cinemax. And obviously everyone's going to throw the blame on me.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would I record it? I'm awake at that time. The mystery was never solved.
Yeah.
But let's just say I know it was my father.
To be fair, there were a couple culprits in that home. That's for sure.
Let's go on to Elian Gonzalez, the boy who was saved by dolphins.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was our first pointless one here, right? It wasn't even real. It was like newsworthy back then. The first time I heard Elian Gonzalez's name in years, I was like, yeah, remember that. I guess that was kind of pointless. And the United States cops outright said, Elian Gonzalez doesn't matter.
He
So
became a politician, though, and
yeah, and
dolphins found him at sea, and they swam him to land.
it also sounds like that might have been complete bullshit. Just might have been a young kid fucking being delusional. So there it was.
Changing the World would be Eminem's second studio album, the LP, Slim Shady.
Yeah, I think it's better than I think it was Marshall Mathers' second LP, right? The first one was the Slim Shady. I don't
Yes,
remember.
it was Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers.
Yeah. Amazing album. And like those first two albums are both such a crazy combination of funny rap and angry rap. And it really hit with angsty teens, that the same way that like early 90s fucking rock music did. Somehow Eminem captured that.
How about Survivor? You love Survivor.
Survivor changed the world. There's so many copycat versions of this show too, of, hey, let's take these normal people, put them out in the wilderness and see how they survive, And of course, Survivor's different in many aspects, but there's more copycat shows of Survivor than there is Big Brother.
The big wedding of the year was Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Sadly, they did not last beyond 2005 or 06 when Mr. and Mrs. Smith came out. A very sexy
2005, I think. I want to
Yeah.
say. Great movie. Underrated movie.
He was also in an episode of Friends.
He sure was.
It wasn't this year, but
it actually might have been in the year 2000. He was on.
I think it was around that year. It might have been 01 or 02 though.
Okay.
It was a Thanksgiving episode.
I don't know how to rank this. Obviously, not really a lasting impact
because no one really beyond.
It was more than a blip, right?
Talked about it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was a blip then. Maybe it was.
I know, but I think they're going to get back together soon.
But it's definitely not This Is the Future. They didn't change the world, but I don't think they had a lasting impact.
No, because I look at Brangelina as having more of a lasting impact.
For sure. So this is like blip.
It's a blip.
Because Brangelina also gave us that nickname. We didn't have Braniston and Brennifer,
We had Benifer.
But that was Ben. That was Ben and Jennifer.
There'd be more than one Benifer. All right, Mac. Sad news for you. You didn't show up to a school a week after this happened, and that was when Cats closed its run on Broadway.
I didn't know Cats was out that long ago. I don't know how to evaluate this. I've been getting into theater and stage shows more in the last decade of my life, but I'd say Cats is pointless. I'd also say even people that like Broadway and theater shows aren't bragging about Cats.
Yeah, Mac had 2 rough weeks in the year 2000. We had to keep an eye on him. We had to take his shoelaces when Cats and Charles Schultz passed away.
Yeah.
One that I'm not sure. I think it did take off at the beginning, but then didn't hit its true stride for like 3 or 4 years. And that would be Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I almost disagree. I thought it was really strong to start, and then it kind of petered out a little bit until the
I'm saying popularity wise. I think popularity wise, or even quality of show. When Leon joined the show, that's when the quality of show truly stepped up.
I also think, though, this was a bit of proof of concept for HBO. Like they had Larry Sanders Show too, but like having more quirky comedies was not that common, and this helped a lot. It didn't change the world, or did it?
Well,
like R-rated comedy like this to be as successful as it was, like that is sort of, is it the future then? Lasting impact? I don't know.
People needed more Seinfeld stuff. Seinfeld had just ended. They needed more Seinfeld stuff, and this was Seinfeld stuff.
So what would you say? Lasting impact, future?
This is the future.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Okay. The next one up here. Oh, the Subway series, the Yankees and Mets.
Sorry, I was coughing thinking about Mike Piazza or Roger Clemens throwing a bat.
That's my first thought, is Roger Clemens threw a bat at Mike Piazza.
I think it's just a blip on the radar, right?
I don't know. I can name that entire.
And I think the Yankees swept the series, didn't they?
I think it was 4-1, I want to say.
Okay.
Mets might have taken game 3.
All right.
What a memorable Mets team, though. You had Mike Piazza, John Olerud, Robin Ventura, Edgardo Alfonso.
You know who I hate?
Who's that?
Scott Brocious.
I mean, we all hate Scott Brocious.
What a bitch.
Yeah. Subway Series, a blip on the radar.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
There was a presidential election.
Mm.
And outside of the politics of it all, we might have had our best SNL run when it came to the presidential election. We had Will Ferrell introducing his George W. Bush versus Daryl Hammond's lockbox Al Gore.
Yeah, so good. So fucking good.
Will Ferrell might have he created the pinnacle of what a presidential impression should be with this. This might have changed the world.
This is the actual presidential one. The SNL one's a few down, by the way, the one you're hovering over.
Oh shit, you're right.
But we can do this first.
SNL.
Will Ferrell's George W. was so good, he got his own Broadway show. He did it might have been off Broadway, but he did a whole hour and a half of just him as George Bush. So
it also turned him from a star. Like everyone knew that he was the funniest person on SNL to being a true superstar.
It proved he could carry something significant, something beyond SNL. I don't know if I would change the world. I don't know. That's
too late.
All right. There's your second stamp.
Okay, so this next one, I was confused. The other Billy D made these for us. It was very nice of him.
Yeah.
They're kind of confusing sometimes. This next one is the actual election of Bush versus Gore. And I find this to be kind of boring. The next thing is a little less boring and kind of interesting, but all of it is pretty boring.
Well, let me frame it for you this way. Bill Clinton was a moderately successul president.
We are
pretty
getting
well liked
charged right now.
Even with the Lewinsky stuff in the impeachment, people still really liked Bill. And so his vice president seemed like the natural next character.
But he was
you have the president pre-Clinton, George H.W. Bush. Now his son is up. So it's a fascinating clash of worlds, not even ideologies, because they really weren't that far apart. But what came of this and what the lasting impact is, if not beyond, is most people did not know that you could lose the presidential election but win the popular vote. Al Gore had more people vote for him in the year 2000 than George W. Bush did. And there's a lot of people that found out during the ensuing months that it was possible for you to have less people vote for you, yet still win the presidency. So that was significant in and of itself. Now, if you want to get geopolitical, Bush winning really fucked. Like he's a likable personality, but his presidency was pretty fucking awful. So
okay, so what would you rank higher, the actual election or the recount?
So the recount got crazy too because his brother was involved, Jeb Bush in Florida, and their voting system was fucked. So they're probably in the same tier. They kind of go hand in hand. So it's not the future, but it did change stuff. So lasting impact, I'd say, for at least. But like the Bush presidency did change the geopolitical landscape of the whole world, though. So put Bush Gore changed the world. Put the recount lasting impact.
I have no stamps, although I could move things if I really wanted to.
Okay. I'm going to stamp Bush versus Gore. There you go.
All right. Was that your second stamp? Yes,
it was. My second stamp.
But we each have stamp removers, if I so please.
That's right.
All right. The next one here, Billy did mess it up a little bit. It is the opening of 3 new major league stadiums. We had the San Francisco Giants, the Houston Astros, and the Detroit Tigers. They all opened new stadiums. He did put the New York Giants in here. I should have been a little more clear. 2 of them are beautiful ballparks.
Yes.
One of them, they actually had to move the fences in. When they first opened the Tigers ballpark, and I believe Juan Gonzalez was on the team at the time.
He was.
He complained because he flew out so many times. He's like, can you move these fences in?
I believe it was the deepest left field and left center in Major League Baseball, and that it was like 410 to dead center. So they moved them in almost immediately. And also, like, if you look at all the ballparks built in that 10, 20-year span, it's got no discernible features. You don't look forward to playing there or watching
Right.
the game
Houston
on TV
has
there.
the train. Houston has the hill in center field.
Yeah, even the hill with the
Giants have
flagpole
the
was notable.
yeah.
The Pac Bell is an all-time great
Yes.
ballpark. That's it, like, when you're talking short list of like greatest ballparks ever, San Francisco's up there.
The future.
The Pittsburgh is up. Yeah, this is the future is a good one. Yep.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
How about Pitchman Billy Mays? When he burst onto the scene.
All that shit has kind of gone away now.
Yeah.
But from 2000 to like what 2015 or 2010, you had all these late night infomercial guys like this that were maybe a blip on the radar and a fad. Not pointless though. Not pointless.
What was his first infomercial?
He was the OxyClean guy, wasn't he?
OxyClean was his first one, right?
Yeah, I think so.
King of the Pitch. I know that. But what was his first? OxyClean is his first one. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. OxyClean. And then he did Flex Seal, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Billy Mays. What was you say? Blip on the radar?
Yeah, it could be lasting impact though. I
would
don't
say
know.
lasting impact. I would then look at someone like the Sham Wow guy who bit off his tongue. He's more of a blip on the radar.
The Jack Chop guy.
Okay, Mac, is there anything on this tier that you want to move around? I don't know enough about the situation, apparently, to argue changing the world of Bush v. Gore. But
well, it I guess on a serious note, it did change the world. That a George W. Bush presidency fundamentally changed the landscape of the world.
But not as much as the PlayStation 2.
No, that's why it's not above the PlayStation 2.
It's at the back end of Change the World.
Yeah. A Gladiator apparently also more impactful than a G.W. Bush presidency.
Yeah, Russell Crowe won an Academy Award. I'm pretty sure, didn't he?
Did him and Joaquin both win?
Possibly.
No,
right.
Crowe might have won for Beautiful Mind.
Crowe might have several.
I don't really like him.
I think especially at that time, it's a magnetic actor.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's start at the bottom here. The bottom tier is pointless. The cops say it doesn't matter. We have the Elian Gonzalez saga. We have Marshall Mathers' mother suing him. And then we have Cats ending its Broadway run. Just a blip on the radar, a fad. We had Y2K, surviving Y2K, because in 1999, it's going to be higher up.
Yep.
The Sydney Summer Olympics, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston getting married, and the Subway series. In lasting impact, we have the Nokia 3310. 3310, correct? 3310.
It's the Nokia you're all thinking of.
Yes. Then we had Destiny's Child. I'd go a little bit higher, but I've used my moves. And you stamped it, so I can't even say anything, actually.
Yeah.
NSYNC, No Strings Attached, that specific album. Meet the Parents. The Six Flags guy. Charles Schultz passing away. LimeWire. The runoff or the recount of the Bush-Gore election. Billy Mays and TRL, that I think should not count, and it's on here by mistake. This is the Future, is X-Men Big Brother Season 1, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but that also might be a blip on the radar. We don't know. We know the cops say
we might have flubbed that one.
Curb Season 1 and the opening of new ballpark stadiums all over the country. 3, if you want to count those. And then finally, Changing the World, the PlayStation 2, Gladiator, the
Marshall Mathers LP.
Oh, Marshall Mathers LP. I always confuse the first 3.
Yep.
Those are very good albums, though. Lars Ulrich versus Napster, Survivor, the first season, Will Ferrell as George W. Bush, and then finally, Bush v. Gore.
There it is. Stamp it. A combined stamp. That is our tier for the year 2000. How did Cisco not make it onto this?
So he technically burst onto the scene in 99, and I actually might have had Cisco on here, and we just forgot to put him in this area. But as long as you had him in the superlatives, we're all set.
Yeah. Oh, see, look at that. Covering our bases
But
here.
Song dominated the summer. He could do the one-handed cartwheel.
I mean, we all wanted silver hair at one point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into Mac-Sack.
And Mac-Sack could be anything. It could be a boat. And this week, Mac, I have a question for you. This is after A Kentucky man was banned from a busy bar, most likely for drinking too much. He released a wild raccoon in that bar. I'm going to ask you, as an animal expert, what is the best varmint to find outside of an establishment and release into there out of revenge or out of spite?
To like cause chaos.
Cause chaos.
So that they have to be like somewhat readily available, right?
Yeah.
Raccoons are kind of cute. People kind of like them. They are bigger than you would expect sometimes. Possums are real gross looking, and people don't find them cute at all. So maybe possum over raccoon, but I'm trying to think. There's like nothing else you can really like catch and release that's that big. A squirrel could be a menace. A squirrel could climb way better than a possum can. So maybe it's a squirrel, and they're quick as fuck.
I'm also thinking, a raccoon, you got to use 2 hands. A squirrel, you can do 2 squirrels, 1 in each hand, and then throw 2 squirrels in there.
I think you have a way better chance of catching a raccoon than you do a squirrel.
Guys, go to the comment section right now on YouTube and let us know.
Rocky raccoon.
I mean, but also,
into his room.
You have to find
only to find Gideon's Bible.
But a skunk, it stinks.
Oh, good one. Great. No, that's the answer. Skunk. They're less common, and you'd probably get sprayed catching it. But if you don't, and you're able to inhibit the spray until you put it into a room, skunk's the answer.
Oh, but a skunk, it needs like a second to get its sack ready to spray you. So if you find it, you take it and you fucking grenade it in there.
Just yeet it in.
Yeah, it's got to yeet. You got to yell yeet, though.
You kind of need a 2-man system. Someone's got to hold the door open while you get the skunk and yeet it.
Well, what if you're inside the bar and you're being thrown out? And as you're being thrown out, you eye this skunk.
You could punt him in.
And then as the guy is throwing you out of, I would assume saloon doors. Those are going to swing open. So you, as being thrown out, fucking pick it up and Nomar it back in before the guy closes the door.
Nomar from the hole.
Yeah.
Skunk's the answer. And if the skunk's not around, there'll be a squirrel for sure. Birds could be kind of a menace too, but I don't know how you're going to catch a bird.
How about bats?
I don't know how you're going to catch one.
Tennis racket, trash bag.
Okay, there you go.
I'll use the tools I have in my trunk. I have a lady across the street from me right now. By the way, I live in a city that is known for rats.
Yes, Rat City.
I have a woman across the street from me. They dump bird seed, pigeon feed all over their driveway, front yard, and porch.
Yeah.
The entire street is now covered in pigeons.
Yeah, pigeons and whatever they don't get, rats are finishing up. So she's not only contributing to the bird shit on everyone's vehicles, she's helping the rat population sustain themselves. And you living in Rat City, you have long known that you can do the best you can on your property. But if the dickhead next door is feeding them trash, you ain't going to get rid of the rats.
Yesterday, as I was leaving my house, there were 50 pigeons in my driveway. And my son had to see me act like a psychopath, put my hands in the air. As they all flew away.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is the life I live.
Turkey. Maybe releasing a turkey into the bar. That'd be interesting.
Turkeys are real stupid animals.
They're big as fuck, too.
Yeah. Well, what if you find a smaller one and then you just, although it'd have to age really quick.
You ever seen a turkey fly? It's fascinating.
Oh, I've seen them like jump. I've never seen them really fly.
Yeah, they have to get like a running head start because they're so heavy. And then they just can like fly up to like tree height and then they're out of breath. They're done. They got to stop.
Yeah, last year at my parents' house, I had to go. So we knew that there was one turkey outside.
Yeah.
But I also needed to get something outside. So I sprinted, got it, turned around. And as I was going back toward the door, there was another one of these motherfuckers on top of the roof staring down at the door. And I'm like,
Yeah, they sleep in trees, Gil.
What?
Yeah, turkeys sleep in trees.
It's like Tarzan.
They just disappear at night into the tree.
I don't get it, man. Animals, am I right?
Yeah, how about them?
Where can the folks find us?
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Mac and Goo Podcast. Every other platform, we are Mac & Goo. It's Mac Shift 7 Goo. That includes Facebook, Stitcher, TuneIn, Castbox, Spreaker, Google Play, iHeart Radio. We're on Apple Podcasts, but more importantly, we're on Spotify. Nope, opposite. Whatever, doesn't matter. Rate, review, subscribe.
Found.
Yeah, Rate, review, subscribe, 5 stars if you do that. Maybe one day we'll get you a free Mac and Goo t-shirt
Probably not.
from the folks over at Watertown Sportswear. Watertown Sportswear on 34 Mount Street in Watertown. Watertown Sportswear, expert screen printing and embroidery.
tierpublic.com.
Merch.
Go and buy some merch. Also, I would say, so yes, go rate, and subscribe on iTunes, but you can do the same thing on Spotify. So go on Spotify, write a nice review or give us a nice rating, and then also subscribe on YouTube. You can watch us talk. People like that, I think.
I'm on the other side now, so now I got to point. Which way I got to point?
That way. This way. There we go. Boom. Done.
Down here?
Down here. You can also, I was on maybe an hour of the 4-hour extravaganza that was the Dork 10-year special, so go listen to that.
What'd you chop it up about?
I don't know. I'll have to listen back. And, you know what? While we're here, because I didn't really get a chance to talk on Dork. There were 7 people there. I would like to congratulate them on 10 years. I didn't get a chance to say this last night. I want to say that, so Dork, they started 4 or 5 months ahead of us. And because of Keith, and this is not like a thing of like, oh, they could do it, so we could do it. But I saw that Keith was able to put out an entertainment podcast. And I'm like, that seems like fun. I want to try and do this.
Yeah, I always feel like, I don't know why, because I remember you sending me #dork and be like, hey, listen to this. Like,
yeah,
we could maybe pull off something like this. This is like an idea I have. And I remember listening and being like super, super into it, because obviously Keith's pretty quick-witted and he has friends of the like. And yeah, we're coming up on 10 as well. But I always felt like Dork had like a year or 2 head start, but they really didn't. It was
couple months.
Just a few months. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and then Davey wasn't a permanent member of the show until a couple months in, and then he was on phone for roughly 5 years, I want to say.
Yeah, Phone Davey was different voice. It was a completely different voice. Because it was Davey, Woody, Shark. There was like 3 or 4 that used to cycle through before Davey had the most availability.
Yeah. So once again, congratulations to them and their 10 years of success.
We Sarge salute you.
He
got married.
I did.
Sarge.
I saw the photo of Sarge with his wife and the Patriots mascot.
Very fitting. Very fitting.
Like, all right, this works for me.
Congratulations to Sarge and Pat the Patriot.
All right, so check us out at the end of the week. I'm hoping for F1. If not F1, then a news dump.
Okay, maybe. You're gonna see 28 Days Later sometime, or 28 years later?
I heard that one of the zombies has a big old cock.
I heard cocks, so we got to see it.
Yeah, we are the #1 cock podcast.
That's fucking for damn sure.
All right, Tuesdays are goose days. I abuse kangaroos. Tim Burton.
Bye.
Please flip the cassette over to side B to continue the adventure.
Now it's time for girls jumping on trampolines.